People fall in love with someone they truly enjoy and admire. Others fall in love with inanimate objects. Objects like cars and carnival rides. But why do people fall in love with inanimate objects? The first strange addiction is from a very unassuming guy named Mark. And take a wild guess at what Mark's addiction is.
My name is Mark, I'm 20 years old, and I'm in a relationship with 15 inflatable animals.
This is a very interesting addiction to me. If I were to just look at Mark with no inflatables in sight, I'd probably assume he was addicted to like video games or something. A video game like World of Warcraft or even Roblox. But he completely subverts my expectations by being addicted to inflatable animals. 15 inflatable animals to be exact, which by the way, I'm really interested to know how he chose what animals would join his circle of love, because we see some really interesting inflatable animals in the first few shots. The first one I saw was this red dragon thing, which is an interesting choice because it has sharp teeth, which doesn't make me think of love at all. And those sharp teeth are super yellow, which shows this dragon has not been brushing its teeth like it should. Its breath probably stinks really bad. There's also a big turtle, a shark, some orcas, and whatever this long purple thing is. Is it a snake? Is it a dragon? The world may never know, but it's taking up half the table, and I guess its tail needs to eat because Mark put a plate right there for it.
My inflatables are the funnest creatures I have to hang out with in my life. I'll eat with them. What, you want my food? You can your own. Watch TV together. Be fine, I'll show you like. If I bathe my inflatables, let's get sure. Snap. I do take my inflatables out swimming.
He honestly treats his inflatables very well, minus when he waterboarded the shark. We even see him talk to them like people, which is very interesting to me, by the way. Did he just do that naturally, or did the director ask him to do that? Either way, you think it would be very awkward for Mark, but he did it so naturally that I'm convinced it was not awkward at all for him. He has zero shame. Kind of impressive, actually. He also kissed that snake dragon thing, whatever it is, and it was smiling back. So I guess there is a connection between them. Which leads me back to the original question. Why do people fall in love with inanimate objects? In this case, why did Mark fall in love with inflatable animals?
Mark's addiction to inflatables began 6 years ago when he purchased a whale for his pool. Since then, the 20-year-old college student has added 14 animals to his inflatable family and even prefers them over people.
The thing about inflatable pool toys I love is that they're soft, they're cuddly. The bigger they are, the better they are. Kind of means there's more to love. And it's really nice to have somebody to talk to. No, Sammy, you don't get any of my soda, okay?
Have you noticed how much he kisses his inflatables? I've seen Mark kiss more inflatable animals than I ever would care to see. I think normally the amount of inflatable kissing I'd like to see is probably around 0, if I just had to take a guess. But this part is also kind of sad because I think this is where we get a little bit of a look-see into Mark's brain. He talks about how cuddly they are and how soft they are, which I completely disagree with Mark on that one, but he probably knows more than me. He's the expert. And what does that tell us about Mark? He probably likes inflatables a little bit too much. The narrator also mentions how he enjoys inflatables over people, and that's what's really interesting to me. I would love to know the cause of him feeling that way. Why does he prefer inflatable animals over people? Is it because he has some kind of social anxiety that causes him to pull away from people? Or does he find something in these inflatable animals that people aren't able to give him?
Mark first turned to inflatables for love and affection when he was 14 years old.
My mother really wasn't there for me when I was a child. First time I hugged my inflatable whale, I actually started feeling all that love and compassion that I never got from my mother.
So this is where a lot is revealed. And Mark pretty much gives us the answer to why he fell in love with these inflatable animals. He said his mom wasn't there for him as a child, and when he hugged his inflatable whale for the first time, he felt that connection that he hadn't felt before. He felt a kind of love, I guess. Obviously, there's a lot of depth to that, but at the core of it, these inflatable animals were just able to give him something, a kind of intimacy he wasn't able to get as a child. They made him feel a connection, even the dragon with gross, stinky breath. So that answers the question why Mark fell in love with inflatable animals, which is something I wasn't ever expecting to have said. But does that apply to other cases of people falling in love with inanimate objects? Happily married to a carnival ride.
My name is Linda. I'm 56 years old. I live outside of Tampa, Florida, with my husband of 3 years. I am happily married to a carnival ride called a skydiver. His name is Bruce, and we've known each other since 1981.
So let me tell you, this addiction here really threw me for a loop. I wasn't quite sure what to make of what I saw and what I heard in this video, which I'll talk about more in a minute. For now, I just want to focus on what Linda just told us. She's married to a carnival ride called Skydiver, which is just a Ferris wheel. And I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't know what Linda sees in Bruce the Ferris wheel. I don't get it. I don't see it. Maybe, is it just me? I don't know. I like how she keeps Bruce in the corner of her yard too. He's not even in a prime viewing location. If I were in love with the carnival ride, I would keep it where everyone could see it and, you know, show her off.
My first relationship was with an airplane. The last serious relationship I had before I met Bruce was with a locomotive. That didn't work out.
So I'm not even sure how to appropriately react to that. They said she was in a relationship with a plane, and then they show a private jet. How did she manage that? Did she sneak into a private airfield and just start hugging up on this plane or something? Maybe the reason it didn't work out was because she got banned from the airport. She then said her last serious relationship was with a locomotive, but I guess it derailed. But I just want to know, what is a serious relationship to Linda? Maybe I actually don't want to know. And again, how did she get access to this locomotive? Did she just hijack a train like it was the Wild West and drive it back to her house? Or did she have to go visit a train station? Seems like a lot of effort. And I'm genuinely curious, but unfortunately it's never explained. So I don't know. But for now, how and why did Linda fall in love with a Ferris wheel?
I absolutely feel closer to Bruce when I can spend the nights being near parts of him that I can physically touch. I usually set up a table in here and a candlelight dinner. It's really nice being in here with him.
There's so much that's going on here. The first part is that she's apparently physically attracted to Bruce, which I don't even know where to begin with. But then interestingly enough, she likes to have little dates with Bruce. And I love this part because she's setting up like a whole romantic date. Like she pulls out the table and lights up a candle and stuff, but then they're just eating pizza. Well, she's eating pizza. I forgot that Bruce was just a carnival ride. She also said she likes spending nights around certain parts of Bruce, which I'm not getting into. But essentially the reason she married Bruce is because of the way he made her feel in her heart. There was some kind of connection she felt with Bruce and other inanimate objects for that matter that made her want to get married. But what does that mean? There's not a clear-cut answer to how this love of inanimate objects began. However, while I was researching this to see if anybody knew Linda's story, I came across this interesting point. People who fall in love with inanimate objects often report feeling a sense of companionship and understanding from their objects, which they may not experience with human partners. They may also feel a sense of empowerment and control in their relationships with objects as they are able to fully customize and personalize their interactions. And maybe that applies here too. Maybe Bruce gives her a sense of companionship and understanding that she didn't experience early in life. Or maybe she just likes control. Either way, that might explain this relationship in a way that would be consistent with Mark's story too. Just a couple of people in love with inflatables and carnival rides. This next video made its rounds on the internet years ago, and I thought, why not revisit it and see if we can figure out the why behind it. In a relationship with his car.
My name is Nathaniel. I'm 27 years old, and I'm in a serious relationship with my car.
So yes, I am sorry that you had to see that. I wish I didn't either, but it's too late now. We're both in this together. We're both gonna look into Nathaniel, the man in love with his car. Again, not a sentence I thought I would ever really say, but here we are.
Nathaniel is in a committed relationship with a car that he's named Chase. He met Chase in a resale lot about 5 years ago.
Love you, baby. It was love at first sight. His body and then his interior and everything just together just seemed to fit. And I just felt an instant connection.
I cannot believe I chose to look at this video. I am strongly not a fan of some of the words they choose to use, and I'm also not a fan of the way Nathaniel describes his car Chase. And there's so much in this video that I'm not even gonna get into because it's really kind of too strange for me. And plus it probably wouldn't help get to the main point of this video, which is the why. The why. Why did Nathaniel fall in love with the car?
Nathaniel's roommate Kim is one of the few people who know the full extent of his love life.
I guess the reason I don't tell a lot of people is because I don't know the response I'm gonna get. I always worry about that little bit of disgust that somebody may have.
But Nathaniel's biggest fear is how his relationship could affect his career as a customer service technician.
I mean, if everybody found out, I'd be worried that it may affect my job. But I love him to death. I wouldn't trade him for the world.
So let me get this straight. He's afraid of people finding out because they might be disgusted, so he doesn't tell anyone. Do you see the irony in that? Do you see why him saying that might be a little bit strange? He's literally on a TV show where he lays it all out for the whole world to hear. He unfortunately doesn't leave a single detail out. And it is very unfortunate. And I'm no genius, but Nathaniel, I don't know if the best way to hide some secret information is to go on a national television program. But that's just me. Those are just my thoughts. Nathaniel and Kim end up talking, and Kim wants him to go see a therapist. But then for whatever reason, Nathaniel decides he wants to tell his dad about his relationship with his car.
Nathaniel asked me to come up here. Basically, he had something that he wanted to tell me. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I'd like to know what's going on in his life.
Yeah, it's something pretty important I want to talk to you about.
All right.
I'm just gonna come out and say it, I guess. I'm in an intimate relationship with Chase.
You're in an intimate relationship with your car.
Yes.
Your car.
Yes.
How does that work?
I'm gonna stop you there, Nathaniel's dad, because I don't want to know. But imagine being the dad and your son tells you that. That would be the last thing in the world I would ever expect to hear. I also wonder what Nathaniel's dad thought when he rolled up and there was just a bunch of cameras there and he had to do this little interview. Like, was he tipped off at all? Did they tell him it was for My Strange Addiction, or did they just like completely make up a lie? But eventually Nathaniel does go to see a therapist.
Have you ever had a girlfriend or a boyfriend?
I've had girlfriends in the past, yeah, and it's always been hard. It's never worked out, I guess, because of that piece of me is still attached to cars.
Do you imagine Chase being part of your life for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I'd like him to be. I really would.
Okay.
So in this therapy session, they never actually discuss any possible causes of this, other than that Nathaniel felt like his other relationships with humans never worked out, but they don't even go into that much detail about it. There's actually not much background information at all about why Nathaniel might be feeling this way, which brings us to the overarching question. Why do people fall in love with inanimate objects? If we look at this holistically, we could go back to what we read earlier about people feeling a sense of companionship from objects that they couldn't get from humans. And that would sort of line up with him not feeling any sort of connection with his previous girlfriend. Then maybe we could connect it to Mark's story where he didn't feel like his parents were there enough for him growing up. But the common thing between all these videos is that these people feel a connection with inanimate objects that they don't feel with humans. Maybe they didn't grow up knowing how to connect to humans or how to build relationships with humans. And maybe that led to this dependency on inanimate objects to fill this hole in their heart that wasn't filled when they were growing up. Now, with that being said, I am not an expert by any means, so take everything I said with a big old bucket grain of salt. But I do find this interesting and just wanted to make a little video about it. And let me know what you think. Am I completely wrong? Did I make a little bit of sense? But other than that, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out this video right here, and I'll see you next time.